Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and today I am wrapping up the planting of my big foundation landscape bed. Now I've already planted 200 daffodils and 100 anemone in here, and I've decided that I'm going to keep it simple and fill the entire middle of the bed with nothing but poppies. I think it's going to be really effective and quite beautiful. So stay tuned to watch my progress on exactly how you sow the poppy seeds for the greatest success. So the plan of action for this bed is to do about a 3-foot wide area where I'm going to have it completely mulched using triple shred hardwood. And I'm not doing a really dense layer, really like an inch, maybe inch and a half. And then I'm gonna leave the entire center open, and that's gonna be where I sow the poppy seeds. So remember, poppy seeds need light to germinate, so they have to be right on the surface. You can't mulch them, you can't walk over the bed, you can't rake them once the seeds have been sown. Now another thing about poppies, they need cooler temperatures to be able to grow well. And so for people generally in zones 6 through 9, that's why we recommend that you plant in the fall, because then they will actually produce flowers usually late April through the month of May, and then they die before temperatures get really hot. And this is the cycle that poppies in general, but especially Papaver somniferum, the species of poppies that I primarily grow, really require. They aren't really heat tolerant. I have a snuggly cat who wants to be a part of today's video. So another question I get a lot of people asking about is whether or not you should thin your seedlings. And this isn't just for poppies, but it certainly does pertain to poppies. In general, you're better off just leaving them alone. However, if you plant them like you just toss a handful of seeds in one spot, they are going to have a lot of competition with one another. So generally my approach is, and you'll see this when I sow the seeds, is to actually toss the seeds almost like I'm bowling. That way the seeds sort of naturally disperse themselves efficiently. I typically don't do any thinning of seedlings at all. Last spring I did have an issue where some of the larkspur were densely sown and they didn't really grow to fruition. However, they did still flower. So really you can do this without having to be an interrupter in the process. I just am kind of like let the plants fight it out themselves kind of person. And then finally, watering. Usually at this season, we're wet enough that you don't need to add more water, but we've been super dry. There's no real rain in the forecast. So I am recommending that you just plan on, hitting your seedlings with some water at least once a week until you get some rain. Typically through the winter, we have short days, the temperatures are cooler. You're not gonna need to water like you do in the summer season, but if you go, a month with no rainfall, you are gonna have to supplement the water that your plants might need. And especially tiny little seedlings, they do require some level of moisture. So keep that in mind. They probably won't wilt like an established plant would. So my recommendation is just, feel the soil with your hand, and if it's bone dry, pull out the hose. That's the best advice I can give, just in a very general perspective. I typically don't water right after I sow the seeds. I usually wait for the seeds to germinate. I'm hoping that maybe we'll get a tiny bit of rain this week and I won't actually have to hook up any sprinklers, but we'll see. All right, I'm gonna get busy getting the rest of the mulch put out in this bed, and then finally getting those poppy seeds sown so I can call this project finished. Cubby, are you gonna help? Seed sowing time has finally arrived, and I'm gonna warn you, it's pretty anticlimactic, so get prepared. Basically, the process is like ridiculously easy. You're gonna take some in your fingers, you're literally just gonna like scatter them around loosely and lightly. When I referred to the bowling comment, this is the action that I'm talking about. I have some in my hands and I'm simply throwing them out there. I've tried a million times to time lapse this or to slow mo this process, and it never turns out. So I'm just gonna do it in real time. Walk around the bed. I'm walking around in the mulch space, scattering all of this middle area. Now I'm probably gonna regret that I don't have a walkway. I can always sacrifice some plants later on. I'd rather just have good coverage. And I'm sure that I have scattered more than enough. I'm gonna walk away and call it done. Here's an up close shot of what the poppy seeds look like. You see they're really small. And that's a big contributing factor as to why they need to be surface sown. Generally the rule is you can plant twice the depth of the size of the seed. These, from experience, grow best with nothing covering them up. Now the final step to make this bed finished, at least finished for today, is to get all of this garlic replanted. Remember, this is all garlic that I had missed harvesting in the spring, and now I'm just gonna thumb it in right along the edge to help prevent those browsing mammals, including deer, rabbits, and groundhogs above ground, but more importantly, the voles that can really wreak havoc on all the plant's root systems. So I'm gonna just plop these in the ground, and then this bed will be officially finished for the season. Well, now that the garlic is planted, I can check this bed off of my to-do list. And I look forward to sharing updates from this space as the poppies begin to germinate. Be sure to subscribe to the Bree the Plant Lady YouTube channel and look for my weekly garden tours. That's where I put all of my updates from all the different areas of my property. If you found this video to be helpful, please give me a like and share it with your friends. And as always, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Happy gardening.